It's December 2nd, 2021, and so it's time for another monthly update video. Obviously, this will be the last one for the year 2021, but I might do another end of the year video as well. We'll see how that goes. I always like to begin by talking about three big things that I'd like to bring to your attention. So, big thing number one, if everything goes as it should, we should see Stoicism Today, Volume 3, going out to the press, self-published on Amazon. This is a book of really great articles from the Stoicism Today blog, edited by myself and my co-editor, Leah Goldrick, and all the proceeds go to the Modern Stoicism organization. So that's one big thing. Big thing number two, we're going to be starting another year of Worlds of Speculative Fiction. And so, as always, I'm going to give all of you the opportunity to be involved and to suggest and vote on some of the entries that I'll be doing this coming year. Big thing number three, something that we didn't get to by the end of November, but we will definitely have coming out in the weeks ahead. Merch for the channel, merch for a bunch of kind of silly things, merch for the Half Hour Hegel project, ways in which you can show that you like and would be interested in some way promoting publicly your connection to the stuff that I talk about and teach about. So those are the three big things. Let's talk now about November. November was a pretty busy and even in some respects brutal month. I had all of my classes ongoing and lots of grading to do and wrapping things up, getting ready for the big push that happens now in this month of December. That always takes some planning in November. I also held quite a few online events, my usual Hegel Q&A and discussion forums, both the public and the Patreon exclusive. I did some live readings. I held a political theory and practice discussion about Aristotle. Did an AMA as usual, and we had our metal class for the month, which went really, really well. And the video for that you can find if you look at the video description for this one. I also got my classes totally lined up for the coming semester, meaning lined up in the sense of I know what I'm teaching, not in the sense that the class shells have been entirely built out. That's going to happen partly this month and partly next month. For Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, I am teaching existentialist philosophy and literature and world religions. And for Carthage College, I am teaching medieval philosophy. So those are going to be a lot of fun, and those will involve down the line shooting some additional videos. I mentioned the Stoicism Today Volume 3 book. That has been an awful lot of work, not just editing, but doing all the things that are required to get it into Amazon self-publishing. Fortunately, my co-editor shouldered the heaviest of the burdens on that, but even, with that, there's a lot going on, as well as editing the Stoicism Today blog, along with my assistant editor, Harold Kavli. So that's, kept me going quite a bit. There's been some stuff that, had to be sorted out after StoicCon and after Stoic Week. There's always some follow-up stuff, so that's been a lot. Video production. I was hoping to get 6 half-hour Hegel videos done this last month. I actually got only half of that, but we did get into a new section, the very final part of the religion portion of the work. So that's pretty cool. I got 2 book review videos done, one that I gave a qualified endorsement to, one that I gave a full endorsement to. Links to those can be found below as well. And my wife, Andy, and I went on to a podcast and also did a video about Stoicism and marriage with Massimo Pigliucci and Robert Coulter. Had a great conversation about that. Wisdom for Life, we had the radio show. I also released a video. And there was also an Evil Sadler video that you might have noticed popping up. People seem to be into that. So I can't promise when and where he'll show up again, but I'm sure that we'll see more of that bastard. And then what else? I shot a lot of footage for my Le Guin Earthsea class, Fantasy and Philosophy, Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea. It released a lot of videos on The Farthest Shore and some on Tahanu, their fourth novel. We are now finishing up the class, so you can guess my students have a lot of videos that you haven't seen yet, but I'll be releasing them over time. First early releasing them to my Patreon supporters and then to the general public. Podcast work, the Sadler's Lectures podcast. I finished releasing the podcast episodes on Miguel de Unamuno's Tragic Sense of Life, then went into the ever popular Judith Jarvis Thompson, The Trolley Problem, right? And then after that, I edited and released some on Freud's Introductory Lecture 31, which is probably one of the best places to start if you want to understand Freud's notion of the personality and the unconscious. And then finally, I've been releasing and editing podcast episodes on Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics, books 8 and 9. Not super happy with the sound quality, but those were recorded before I started using my sound recorder with a lapel mic, so the sound is as good as it gets after tweaking it and stuff like that. I also went on the radio a number of times. We have the Wisdom for Life radio show that my friend and co-host Dan Hayes and I produce, but I've been also going on to River West Radio as a co-host for a different kind of show, their Drive Time with River West show, which is, more topical, current events, riffing off of each other's stuff, and then interviewing some guests. And so that's been a lot of fun as well. So that's November. For the month of December, the calendar is particularly packed in the first 2 weeks because I'm taking, for the most part, the last 2 weeks as just some downtime for myself, where I'm going to be doing some writing, getting my classes ready, taking it easy, getting to the gym a bit more regularly, all those sorts of things, and enjoying myself at Christmas and New Year's, getting together with some friends perhaps and some family. We'll see how that works. But here's what the calendar holds. On Saturday the 4th at 12 o'clock, that's Central Time. Remember, all times are in Central Time because they are online events. I will be having the AMA, that's Ask Me Anything, for December, so you can show up and get your questions in. You might actually want to look at some of the older AMAs if you've got a hankering to ask questions about like Jordan Peterson or Zizek, things I've answered many, many times already. After that, same day, the 4th at 2 p.m. for Patreon supporters, I will be having my philosophy chat session. And since it's Christmas, I'm going to open it up. Usually it's only at a certain level in Patreon, but I'm going to open it up to all of the Patreon supporters. On the 9th, that's a Thursday at noon, I will be doing a live reading from my book, Reason Fulfilled by Revelation, the 1930s Christian philosophy debates in France. We're now finally getting into Maurice Blondel. On the 11th at noon, I'll be having my political theory and practice discussion. You'll see the link to that below, but you can also find it in the channel because it's a live streaming event, just like the AMA is. On the 15th, this is a very packed week, which is a Wednesday at 5 p.m. We'll have our Hegel Q&A and discussion session. That is for the general public, so anybody's invited. Anybody can come in. That's video conferencing and talking about Hegel and German idealism with me. On the 16th at noon, we'll have another live reading from Reason Fulfilled by Revelation. Probably get through the rest of the Blondel stuff. On the 18th, we will have our classic metal class, me and Scott Terulli. We are going to be discussing metal identity as understood through songs. So songs that are specifically referencing metal and how that contributes to metal's self-understanding through its musicians and its fan base. That is at noon. It's a lot of fun. You can join in. Scott and I are talking, but we answer questions and comments that people leave in the chat. On the 19th, which is a Sunday, so this is a little bit unusual, we're going to be having our Worlds of Speculative Fiction, and we're going to be talking about this massive tome, Neil Stephenson's Anathem. People have been requesting this for years. I have been slowly reading my way through it, and we'll talk about this. Beginning at noon, I'll have a video premiere, which you can join in on and engage in live chat, and then at 1:30 or around that time, we'll have a more intimate Zoom session for discussing the work. Then we jump all the way ahead to the end of the month. On the 30th at 6 p.m., we'll have our monthly MKE, that is Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship meeting, and we'll be talking about what we'll do in the coming year. And the last thing that I do have to say about events is that, remember, I'm on drive time with River West at 4 p.m. Central on the 8th, which is a Wednesday, and on the 22nd, also a Wednesday. And we have the Wisdom for Life radio show at every Saturday, 5 p.m. You can tune in to either of these shows anywhere in the world just by going to River West Radio and clicking Listen Live. So you don't have to be in the Milwaukee area to hear them. Video work. I'm going to be cranking away at the half-hour Hegel. We're now in a new section, which is quite good. I'll be doing some more book reviews. I owe quite a few of those. And I'll be releasing more of the Ursula K. Le Guin, certainly those on Tahanu. I might hold off on the last two books until the new year, releasing those. I'll probably do some personal videos, the Sadler stories. I might do some other things, some advice videos. We'll see what goes on. Evil Sadler might show up, especially since there's a holidays period coming up, and that seems to bring him out. And I might do some other things. I'm not quite sure exactly what. I will be doing some core concept videos, though. I've had some Foucault thumbnails sitting on my desktop waiting to have videos shot on them for quite a while, so I want to get to those. And I'm looking at shooting some content for my existentialism class coming up on Søren Kierkegaard's The Sickness Unto Death, a work that I have not shot video on previously and people have been asking about. And we'll see if I do anything more after that. That's already quite a bit. I will be doing more work with the podcast. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of content to crank out with the Aristotle's Nico McCain Ethics books 8 and 9, lots and lots of stuff about friendship and relationships that I think would be useful to keep on generating the content on. And then I'll probably start doing some more Sadler shorts because those can be quite nice as well. And I've been considering doing some stuff for River West Radio that would be little snippets about critical thinking and fallacies and how not to be taken in. So if I get to those, we'll see, Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll probably also have some content specifically about Stoicism Today, Volume 3, which we're hoping to have out so people can start purchasing it as Christmas gifts. And I'll probably have a video about the worlds of speculative fiction and what's coming for the next year. I might do something about the merch that we're going to have coming out. So stay tuned for all of those things. I hope that everybody has a decent month as we round out 2021, which has been quite a year, much like its predecessor, 2020. And that's pretty much all that I've got on my end.